Well, we are back for another episode of Secret Invasion. We are now on to episode 5 out of a 6-episode series. We have still not done a thing. Even with episode 5, I'm still wondering, where is this show going? What is this show's purpose? I really don't know. Because we haven't had much of actual Secret Invasion. None of that's really been going on. It's just been a very boring, tedious slog, and it's a show that cost $200 million. That's very hilarious that they spent that amount of money on it. And this is what they've done. This is, again, Marvel they're definitely spending their money well. If they're just useless, absolutely useless. But we're not going to waste much time and dive into it because I want to get it out the way. I'm looking forward to the finale for that reason, just to get it done. So we start off to recap the previous episode. Nick Fury had a conversation with his wife. The president was in a car crash. And Talos died. That was a very impactful death. You know, out of the 15 minutes we had of Talos in Captain Marvel, what a shit film that is. And then what we had of it, it definitely hits you in the feels. No, I didn't give a fuck in the slightest. Because, as always, they don't spend a lot of time on these characters. That's why any death that happens, especially in this show, what fuck is there to give about it? Don't know nothing about them. So why would I care? Again, it makes it even funnier that when they have these death scenes, they act as though this will be impactful, and like every time it's not. So that was the previous episode. Again, nothing to do with Secret Invasions going on. Just a load of random shite. So we start off, of course, at the hospital, where the president, I don't know why he's being rushed in the hospital, to be honest. He was in a car crash. Nick Fury walked him to the car. So, I don't know what exactly is wrong with the president. But he's being shipped off to hospital. Nick Fury's told he can't go in, so he sits down outside. For some reason, the news have this image. This was like exactly the frame in the show. So I don't know how the news have got that. But they've somehow got it. So, yeah, so we now know it's all over the news about the Skrulls. They specifically say shapeshifters. There's a reason I highlight that, and we'll eventually get to it because it doesn't make no sense. So he sits down outside and he's got his gun in hand. And then we go off to the nuclear power plant where the Skrulls are hiding, that for some reason nobody has ever been able to find. They didn't think to use the satellites until this episode. They use the satellites. Oh, right, so anyone could have done that at any time. Nobody decided to make that a choice. You just went, nah, we don't need to use satellite. It's not on the books. That's what they said. This compound is not on the books. I mean, just follow where the radiation is. That's the reason that the Skrulls are hiding here, because they are immune to radiation. Nick Fury has known this for many years. And he didn't think, well, to find their compound, we just get a Geiger counter. No. It's the Skrulls that offer up the satellite images of their compound. Nobody else thought to do that. So, yeah, we're not off to a great start with this episode. So, they get out of the car. Again, every scene is dragged out as long as it can be. We've got to see them drive up slowly and all get out the car. And then this guy with a look on his face. It's like, get on with it. I mean, again, you're dealing with a 30-minute episode. It's like, why are you honestly struggling to fill the screen with anything that you've got to have things of that nature? So they're all back from the attack on the president that they fucked up because I don't know why. So the villain guy gives a speech, and of course we get the typical villain that kills his own men, because that makes sense when you want to trust people to do a job for you. You kill your own men in front of everybody. That's just a trope in Hollywood that needs to die. It's just, I guess it's just a quick way to show, oh, he's evil, guys, even though apparently the showrunners on this show have said that's not the case. Apparently, from what I read the other day, Nick Fury and Gravik, the villain who's murdered children, they're going to reconcile. We'll see how that plays out. So they're up here and he's yelling at his subordinates. He's saying, our target was the president and he's still alive. You know, I wonder why that went wrong. Maybe it had something to do with you started focusing on Talos rather than the president, and now you're going to complain about it when you actually had the option to kill the president. But instead you wasted your time on Talos. But he's going to stand there and complain at everybody. Honestly, one of the dumbest villains I think we've ever had in Marvel. It really is. So he's having a go at this guy, which is like his right-hand man. He says to him, if you had stolen what we need, I could have taken out the convoy single-handed. Because, yeah, we're about to get into some weird stuff. So the guy says to him, but would you? You ordered Fury's death when you knew Vara, Fury's wife, would never do it. I know, it's a fucking idiotic decision. I don't get this idea that, right, you want someone dead, so you get the person that's least likely to go through with it. You get the person that's been in love with Nick Fury to do it. You don't get someone that you know will just do it. So it's very... They're clearly trying to go for, oh, well, he did that because he didn't want Nick Fury to actually die. That's what I guess they're going for. But at the same time, it's like, well, what the fuck? What if she did kill him? What if she did kill him? You'd be fucked. That would completely annihilate your plans. So maybe don't plan that way. But again, it just creates inconsistencies because this villain guy, he wants Nick Fury dead the 1 minute and then says he doesn't the next. I'm like, what is it you want? I don't know. So, yeah, his guy continues to say to him, you had the chance to kill Fury today, and you didn't. But he ordered his death. Right, okay. That makes sense. That's definitely a villain that makes a lot of sense. No, it isn't. So, yeah, you had the chance to kill Fury today, and you didn't. And, yeah, I suppose the one thing I should say, this guy also had the opportunity to do it, and he didn't take it. He decided, no, I just got to shoot Talos in the arm, even though my target's the fucking president, so maybe shoot the president first. Or if we want Nick Fury dead, then I'll just shoot him as well when I have the opportunity. But no, he didn't take that because he is, like everybody in this show, an idiot. So that's what they're talking about. And then our villain guy says, well, that we didn't kill Nick Fury because he has what we need. Why did you order his wife to kill him then? Again, what if she did kill him? You'd never find what you're looking for. So it's just, I don't, you know, it seems like they're going for, oh, he doesn't actually want to kill Nick Fury. But it's like all your actions are telling me that you do. You're just too incompetent to do it. You know, I don't know what it is. So, yeah, this villain's just one of the worst villains we've ever had. I'm trying to think of who's worse. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to think who's worse. So yeah, apparently Nick Fury has what they need. He ordered his death, but you know, whatever. And yeah, I think this guy says, you told me. So here's where we get into, I think, that are going to become issues further on into the MCU, which most people aren't going to care about because they're not going to be here any longer. I mean, there's a reason nobody's watching this show. So he said, you told me Fury hid the Avengers DNA. So that's what we're dealing with now. Apparently, you can just get the Avengers DNA. It turns out Nick Fury did that. Nick Fury decided, I'm going to have the Avengers DNA. And I'm going to let Skrulls know about it. Meaning, well, because now it's just, oh, you just get the Avengers DNA and you get their powers. That's apparently how it works now. I don't really see that working that way with the likes of Thor, because that's just not going to work that way. But that's what they've now added into this world, into the MCU, is you now have the ability, just get someone's DNA, you can get their powers and be them. That's how it works now. So we should really, at this point, everybody should be after the Avengers' DNA, shouldn't they? You know, again, I don't know why they add things like this in, because it's like they're never going to account for it going forward. So it's like just pointless. Yeah, now essentially all it's going to do is give them the ability to just water characters down. But, I mean, who have they got left anyway? So, yeah, you told me Fury hid the Avengers' DNA. It wasn't in any of the locations you provided. And again, it's, you know, it's funny that Fury hasn't thought about this. You know, Fury's whole reason on why he hasn't called the Avengers, because he thinks that the Skrulls will impersonate them, yet he doesn't consider whether Skrulls could turn into them, or, you know, gain their powers. So he's decided to just have Avenger DNA lying around. That doesn't seem like something you want to keep. That just seems a bit silly. So, right, where are we now? Again, there's so much shit to go. The amount of dog shit in this show, especially for a half an hour episode, is insane. I've got almost 4 pages just to go through on this episode. But yeah, so now it's a start. Oh, you can just get their DNA. That turns you into them. You get their powers. I don't know why you want to add stuff like this in. So, yeah, that guy continues on to saying, no, you know, you don't know where the locations are because Fury doesn't trust you, just like we shouldn't trust you. So then Gravik, what he does is, he does the usual thing that he kills his right-hand man in front of all these people that he needs to trust to do jobs for him. And now it's just like, so why would they? Why, you know, you can't really trust them now to do what you want because, you know, it's just so backwards. Why every villain must kill their own men? It's like, you don't need to do that. So then Gravik's like, he says, well, this guy's name's Pagan. Pagan thought he had a voice. None of you do. You're faceless and nameless, and the only reason Fury was on that road is because his traitor wife defied my direct order. Yeah, but you just said you didn't want him dead. Again, I don't know what the fuck this villain's talking about. It's like, oh, I'm going to order his wife to kill him. Then in this room, I'm going to say Fury has what we need. And then I'm going to say that Fury's wife defied my orders to kill him. So I'm like, do you want him dead? Do you want him alive? I don't know anymore. I do not know anymore. Whatever you're spouting doesn't make any sense. Because we're just dealing with another moronic villain. So he's done the usual thing, killed his own guy, right? But that's what we got to do. It's, again, just, I don't know why they do it with almost everything. We got to have the villain kill his own men. So these people are now, you know, again, just look at the way they're looking at him. So why do you want to create that problem for yourself? Surely you want people to do what you want them to do. But now it's like, you know, some of them may run off, you know, whatever it may be. They may even turn against you, as we see in this episode, which I'll give them credit on that. At least they've actually shown how this would turn out if someone actually did this. So he tells them, right, go and kill Fury's wife, go off to her house and kill her. That happens a bit later. They're all useless. Of course they are. They don't know how to aim. They just run out of cover. So it's the usual stupid stuff. So that's what he sent them off to do. Now I need to turn the page to figure out where we're going next. And that's pretty much it. He calls up Rhodey, who is now a Skrull. Don't know where the real Rhodey is. Who knows? So he's saying to him, keep the president alive. He wants to keep the president alive now after complaining about not being able to kill him. So now he's going back on that. So he's like, keep Ritson alive. Make sure he knows it wasn't just Russians, but Skrulls too, that the Russians and Skrulls have teamed up. Show him the satellite footage of New Skrullos, which is the little nuclear power plant. So he now wants Skrull Rhodey to give all the details over to the president. So essentially the idea is, oh well, then what will happen is the president will go, right, we're gonna have to hit a strike, drop a bomb on this place which is on Russian soil, so then the Russians retaliate and that creates a nuclear war. But because for some reason they don't account for the fact that the US president would just ring up, say, oh, here, Russia, we got some Skrulls that are living on your planet. Is it all right we bomb them? No, it's just got to go straight to, now we just drop a bomb on them. And then Russia just start throwing nuclear bombs all over the place. I don't know why they think it's so simple. It's like there's going to be a lot more to... yeah, they just seem to think, oh, people just jump straight to nuclear war. It's like, no. I don't know why you think that. And I don't know why Russia would give that much of a fuck about some old power plant they don't use. You know, I wouldn't even imagine they would know about it if you do it right. But yeah, that's his plan. He's going to give up where all his people are, basically sacrificing them. That's the idea. He calls it leverage. It's leverage for Fury, because Fury won't want the world at war, and he won't want to see Skrulls, innocent Skrulls dead. So that's what he's going for with that. So he's just like, prove to the president that there's Skrulls living in Russia and that they all must be eliminated. It's leverage. Fury doesn't want World War III or innocent Skrulls to die. Now, what I don't understand is why exactly would Nick Fury give a single shit about your rebellion little terrorist cell? It's like all the people in that compound, maybe apart from the kids, they're all in on this, taking over the planet, nuclear bombing, so I don't know why Fury would care about it, really. I don't know why he'd care about the bad ones. I don't know why. So he's just like, if this plan messes up, then we just must be ready for sacrifice. So that's what Skrull Rhodey has got to do. So we move back to the hospital. He comes in. Nick Fury's like, what the fuck you doing up in here? He's like, you're not going to shoot me, Sam, because I've got that video of you shooting Maria Hill, which was actually Gravik impersonating Nick Fury. And what is going to happen in this episode is Rhodey says in 60 seconds, the video of you shooting Maria Hill is going to go live. It's going to be all over the news, and you're going to be the most hated, wanted man on Earth. I don't really get why this stuff would go on TV. It's like, it's to do with like S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that. I don't know why in this world it's like, oh no, like Nick Fury is a household name. I don't get why they think that's the case in the MCU. It's Nick Fury, the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., a division that is very much secretive. So nobody should know who the fuck Nick Fury is. But they do. And now we have to point out, right, so you can release this information, this video, but what we've seen earlier is the news networks also have pictures of Skrulls, and they know that they mention they are shapeshifters. So why would you think people wouldn't go, well, if they're shapeshifters, it's like, well, Nick Fury cares about Maria Hill, they work together, so why would he kill, unless it was a shapeshifter? So it's like now, I don't know. I don't know how much this would actually hold up. A lot of people would consider that shapeshifters did it. So, I don't really know why this would just work straight away when all this information is already out there about the Skrulls. But they seem to pretend that it would work, but whatever. So that's basically what's happened. That is now out there. Everybody knows about it. Nick Fury is a wanted man, still walks about like he's not, as per usual, just turns up in London, then he turns up over here, turns up in Finland. They really don't do a good job at accounting for how people are getting to locations, especially when it's like Nick Fury who's wanted. Where they bring in some new tech, which is going to get forgotten straight away after this show. Never going to bring it up again. Never going to account for it. They're never going to go, if you have this technology, why shouldn't this person also use it? That's another problem that they've created for themselves. Because every show or film, we must introduce something that we're never going to bring up again. Very similar to, like, Guardians 3, where they introduce med packs, things that are never going to fucking come up again, even though they're handy. So Nick Fury's like, right, well, there's nothing I can do here. So he leaves the president, and then I guess these are all Skrulls. So he's like, you better go and tell Gravik, or some shit like that. I don't know. Nick Fury says, oh, I'm coming for you. Whatever. So he's showing his force. But I assume they're all Skrulls. Well, I mean, they must be, considering how openly Rhodey was talking about Gravik. So we go back, we're now in London, so all this footage is over there. Also, the information about shapeshifters is out there, so people would question this. They would question, so why exactly would Nick Fury kill his own agent? Why would he do that? I don't know. So that's all out there. This guy turns out to be a Skrull. We've got Cringe Meister 1. She comes in. She's very. I don't know what they've given you here to do, Olivia. I really don't. But you just come across really cringe, like some of the stuff she says. There's a particular scene we get in a little while. It's just like, you're just so cringe, just like the lines and the dialogue she has, and the way she acts. I mean, they've pretty much wasted her in this show, but whatever. That is the Marvel way. So she comes in, she's like, you're a Skrull, shoots him in the leg, yeah, he turns green. And she's like, if you don't do what I do, then, there's no policy on what we do with Skrulls, so that means I can kill you. If you don't do what I say, she wants information. So we then go here where Gravik, being the idiot that he was, when he killed his own man, that has now turned people against him. They bash him over, they, put a bag on his head and everything like that. The only thing I will say, they didn't account for the fact that he has fucking powers. So, again, they've shown it how it would work out, but at the same time, these morons have forgotten, oh yeah, he's got powers. So we can't possibly win. I mean, I don't know why none of them didn't think, oh, well, what we do is, Daenerys, she went in there, got powers. Maybe some of us should do that so we can beat him. No, they've just went, nah, we're just gonna grab him, and then he's gonna go fucking wild and maul us all. So that's the one thing I'd say is they're just very stupid. They didn't think about this. It's like, it's obvious. It's obvious he's gonna win. I mean, is there a way of even killing him now? You can't kill him with guns. So I guess putting a bag over his head would work. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're not going to be able to hold him down because he's stronger than you are. He jumped in, as they call it this episode, the Super Skrull machine. That's literally what they call it. So he comes out and he's screaming, who wants some? Who wants some? And then he brings that guy up, and that guy says, you're nothing but a monster. So he slits his throat in front of all these people. Which, again, that's not going to bode well for you. I don't know why you think people are now just going to do what you say. None of them are going to go, we better sneak the fuck out of here, because he's lost his shit. If he's willing to kill his right-hand man, then who knows who's next? We don't know. So we've got Nick Fury just turns up at this building. I don't know what for. I guess the only reason he shows up here is to have a conversation. He doesn't seem to come in to get anything. So I don't know what that's about. But this is the building in Brixton, where the Skrulls had their little hideout. That's where this place is. Gaia is in here waiting. She's like, Fury's like, your dad's dead. And she's like, oh, I need his body to bury it. This was like one of those scenes. I'm just like, it's so uninteresting. Whatever's going on in this scene. What did she say? We also find when Nick Fury finds out that what Gravik is after is the harvest, the Avenger DNA. That's why he turned up. He didn't know Gaia was here. He just came here for whatever reason. He came here so he knew what our villain was up to. That's what he came here for. He didn't know that Gaia would be here, so that's all that is. So yeah, she just wants the body of her father, and he just says, well, go to me ex-wife, and I'm going to send you to the person that the scrolls are going to be after. That's where I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you to the place where you're most likely to die. Good job, Fury. So that's all that is. The police show up and he runs off. He's like, I'm out of here. So we then go to the cringe meister of the show. That's the scientist that's been working on the old Groot potion, that to do with the DNA of specific whatever they found. So that's why Olivia is here. I still don't know what her name is. Again, the amount of shows you come across where it's like, I don't know what your name is. I don't know what your name is. So yeah, she's here to find out what Gravik's been building. To find out about, what does Gravik have. I guess that's the information she got from her boss, who turned out to be a Skrull. So they turn up here. What does she say? They just like, who are you? And then she says, I'm versatile. I'm good at being your bestie, and I'm bad at being your bestie. Just like, why are you saying the word bestie? Why are you saying that? Just stop it. And also, I should mention the previous scene. Nick Fury said he's going to Finland. I better mention that before we go forward. So, yeah, that's what she's like. I'm versatile. I could be good at you being your bestie, or I could be bad at being your bestie. How the fuck old are you? How old are you? I don't know. She's just being cringe on purpose. So, yeah, she just wants to find out about this. She gets one of her men comes in with a silencer, puts it to the guy Skrull's neck. They never take the shotgun out of his hand, by the way. I don't know why. And she asks about the machine that Gravik has built. That machine. So we assume that she's found out about it. So they burn down their house, their lab. So this guy, because Olivia Colman forgot that, oh yeah, Skrulls are a bit stronger, so they can get out of regular handcuffs. She didn't quite consider that. So that guy breaks out. He grabs this guy's gun, and then his friend or his partner, who he puts a gun to her head, says, I won't let her betray Gravik. Let us go now, or I'll kill her. And then we get the most cringe line of the episode, where Olivia Colman says to that, let us go or I'll kill her. She says, I don't doubt it. The males in my species are very similar. If they're not busy gaslighting you, they're threatening you with murder. That's what all the podcasts are about. Because every time I watch this show, I'm just like, the people that worked on this show must really hate humanity. That's always a feeling I've had from this show. It's like, oh, you really hate people, don't you? You really hate the human species. By now trying to make out that, oh, you know what men are like? They gaslight us or they threaten us with murder. Really? I've never threatened a woman with murder, so I don't know who the fuck's doing that. Maybe an asylum, someone who lives in an asylum. That's most likely it. But yeah, that's, again, they have those little digs now and again throughout this show, and it's just, oh, you just think humans are fucking pieces of shit, don't you? But Olivia Colman is the cringe character, so that's what she says. She just says things like that as she murders someone. Okay. So Gaia turns up here, and then they bury her dad. I'm just going to skip most of this because I don't care about Talos. We've known him for about 15 minutes. So that's when Rhodey comes in here to the president. He says to him about, here's the scrolls, here's the satellite images that Nick Fury didn't think to check, and we need to bomb them. We need to call a strike. So the president's like, yeah, but a strike. We can't go ahead with a strike on Russian soil. That would mean World War III. So Rhodey then says, in an effort to convince the president to do this, he says, I would rather face a world war than extinction. Yeah, but this would mean nuclear war. How is that convincing anyone? It's like, well, leaving the scrolls here, that would cause your extinction, and also nuclear war would cause your extinction. So I don't know what convincing argument that is supposed to be. It's like that both outcomes are extinction. But yeah, that was a funny line that he said. I would rather face a world war. He basically said, I would rather a nuclear war than face extinction. It's like, well, no, that would happen as well at the same time, Rhodey. You're very stupid. So yeah, that's pretty much all we get out of this scene, so we can move on. Gravik then calls up Fury, and he says to him, I want you to deliver the Avenger DNA to me, and deliver the harvest to me. So Nick Fury agrees to this. I imagine he's got a trick up his sleeve or something along those lines. But that's what Gravik wants him to do. So he then, again, a wanted man. He's got a car that's driving him about. He's got a private jet. How has no one found you yet? I don't know. So he gets on the plane, and this is oh, by the way, everybody, Nick Fury's an old useless prick. That's what the point in this scene is. You get this twatty person. He's like, so what Nick Fury has on him is an Interpol red notice, which means, that's the person that all countries should be after. That's what that means. So, this guy says, an Interpol red notice, they don't give them out to just anyone. So Nick Fury says, oh, my mum always said I was special. So he's like, yeah, your mum was right, meaning, there's something wrong up here. Because he's old and he's very stupid now. And Nick Fury's like, I would feel a lot better on a heli carrier. And then this guy says, that plan has been mothballed, a little bit like you should be, because Nick Fury's old, so he should be mothballed. Like moths attach themselves to old clothing. All right. Still doing that. Oh, he's old. Again, I don't really... It's so apparent that the writers don't like Fury for whatever reason that is. It's like just at every turn, it's like, do you like this character or do you not? Seems like you don't. Just based on that you always have these people just shitting all over him. So then this guy says, oh, and by the way, try and get a nap. You seem a little grumpy, because Nick Fury's an old grumpy man. Fuck off. I don't know why Nick Fury don't just fucking knock the guy out. Again, it's just like, you don't really see how disrespectful people are to Nick Fury. It's like, you go back, nobody does that shit. Nobody's disrespectful to Nick Fury. But that's what we keep doing. So we then get a funeral for Talos. I think we really need to mourn Talos. He was in the MCU for about 15 minutes. No, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about any of this segment. It goes on for ages. It's like, this is the type of thing you do at the epilogue. You're burying Talos. That's what you would do. You don't throw it in the 5th episode and drag it out for 10 minutes. So they talk about something. I don't bother with shit that nothing's being said. She gets offended about, I don't know, Nick Fury. She's talking about when she bought this house. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Are you actually wasting my time with nonsense like when you bought your house? Why would anyone care about that? So that's why there's not much to talk about until finally the Skrulls show up to murder, to kill, what's her name? To kill Nick Fury's wife. So, of course, all those guys, again, not much to say other than they don't know how to aim. They just keep banging it, like rushing in. It's like maybe find cover first and go bang, bang, go back behind cover. You know, that's generally how people use guns. But no, they all get killed. You got Daenerys shooting a shotgun. They really need to stop doing this. Like with this actress, because it's like none of it like suits her. So yeah, you can see now that everybody's looking for Nick Fury. That's who they're looking for. They've got this guy. So what we've now established, as we're about to find out, is basically it's this mask thing. It's this tech thing that when he pulls it off, so like you can have anyone's face on you. So that's what they've introduced. I guarantee it that is never going to show up in the MCU ever again. Never going to show up. We're going to have situations in future movies where a person needs to have a disguise and they're not going to go, oh, well, let's use that shield tech. Nobody's going to do that ever. So don't bother adding it in. Again, if you're going to add things into the world that are now a thing, you need to account for it. You need to actually bring it up again, but you're not going to do that. So they drive off. They're going to get the serum, the Avenger DNA. So we show up here. Here's probably where we get the most bollocks. So yeah, they're like driving in the car, and he tells her that Rhodey is a Skrull, and she's like, "Who isn't a Skrull these days?" I know, right? It's almost like when you get into a car with someone, you should both check if you're both who you say you are. When you know people could just impersonate Nick Fury or Olivia Colman. But they never do that either. It's like, what? You know all these Skrulls are running about. There's a million of them. And you never check to see. You're just like, nah, this must be Nick Fury. So that's what we get there. So yeah, she then asks Nick Fury, what is the harvest? And he explains to her, nearly every Avengers spilled blood from the Battle of Earth. So from the first Avengers movie, that he picked up the Avengers' blood. Why would you do that? No, I really don't know why he would do that. That's just really, really strange. And they don't quite answer that question. It's like, so Nick, why did you do this? For what reason? What was the reason? I don't know. They don't go into it. So he then goes on to say, we even have Carol Danvers' blood, her DNA. In the aftermath, some was sent in to collect that DNA. The Skrulls. Nobody knew about them but me and the collectors, led by Gravik. So he let the Skrulls know about this DNA. Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you include Skrulls with that knowledge? I don't know. And I'm just like, so after the Battle of New York, there was just people walking about picking up blood. And nobody thought, that's a bit fucking strange, isn't it? So that's so yeah, it's essentially, it's everything that's happening is Nick Fury's fault. As she says, oh, you're responsible for all this. Because of course it's what we've got to do is rewrite history in order to make Nick Fury responsible for all these problems. It's still, even if you go back and watch Avengers, it's a little hard to believe that Nick Fury, after it, sent some Skrulls out there to pick up blood. I don't buy it. That doesn't seem likely. But again, we're dealing with the rewriting of the MCU history. That's all this show's done. It's just rewriting history. And it like just to make Fury an idiot. That's all it seems like it's for. We're going to go back. We're going to rewrite some things so everybody hates Nick Fury. Again, it's just just comes across to me even more obviously how much you despise this character. So, yeah, it's all his fault. Everything's his fault. Of course it is. So they eventually turn up at this grave. It turns out it's Nick Fury's grave. He has all these graves like round the world that all have the same name. That's a bit suspicious. It's not very good for hiding things, is it? So they come up here where they're of course in Finland, and it's Nick Fury's grave. That's where he's been keeping the Avenger DNA. I don't know exactly how, because it's just one vial. It's like one vial. It's like, what, does that have all the Avengers DNA in it? Because I thought you had that. You said you had their blood. Whatever. Maybe it's just for one of them. I don't know. But I don't imagine you can just mix a load of DNA together. I don't think you can do that. So she asks him rightfully, why haven't you called the Avengers? Why have you not called your special friends? They're still trying to justify that when it comes down to, oh, we didn't have enough money, even though we spent 200 million on this dog shit. They haven't justified it in a good way. It's like, we're dealing with world-ending events. Maybe call some superheroes. Maybe they're better off for the job, Nick Fury, you dumb idiot. But no, he wants to do it himself. He's like, oh no, we need to stop relying on superheroes to save us. No, that's what they're for, though. That's their job. You know, if you're dealing with a world-ending event, that is who you call, because you're so lucky to have them. Although at this point, are you really? Because most of them are villains. So yeah, it's just trying to justify why they're not here, and that's all it is. Yeah, he's just like, you know, this is personal. We can't keep depending on superheroes to save us. None of them can defend the world the way I can. No, they've got super-powered abilities. That's why you call them. That's why they're the first people you get in the door. It's like, no, you're not doing enough work to justify this when it's a world-ending event. Like everything must be. It must be world-ending or galaxy-ending or universe-ending. There's never anything smaller, is there? It's always just got to be massive. So that's apparently the justification. Oh, it's personal. We shouldn't depend on super. Well, no, you put a team together to do that, to depend on them. Honestly, fucking, just, yeah, you know, we already know we're dealing with a character assassination anyway. So what difference does it make at this point? So then he goes on to say, the only power that I have is in between my ears, from my single mother, and the ring around my finger from a woman who's greater than me. If that ain't enough, then I don't know what hope we have. Because you got a ring on your finger. That's gonna, right, you know, I guess it's the Legend of the Ten Rings. I guess that's the ring he's got. But that's the usual shit they throw in there, don't they? Oh, you know, the only power I have is my brain and a ring wrapped around my finger. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of that means, Nick. Call the fucking Avengers. Just do it. That's your only option. Do it. Instead of this, oh no, I can do it all myself, even though I've been portrayed throughout this whole show as useless and old. I can do it all myself. So that's apparently the Avenger DNA. That's one vial. You know, why would you mix as soon as you mix them all together, that's a big fuck up, innit? So it's just, I guess there's more. You know, that's what I can assume. So he's going to give this to Gravik, apparently. We just got one little sentence that gets said, I think. So yeah, you have Olivia Colman says, so let me clarify, you switched the location to protect it from Gravik, and now you're giving him it. So, right, so So you knew that Gravik was going to go bad. It's like, why did you get them to collect this DNA in the first place? And then you went, I better switch them. Whatever. Who the fuck cares? So he then goes in and he gets dressed up with his eye patch and all that. They're basically trying to go, look, Nick Fury's back, without actually putting the work in, with needlessly tearing him down and then making it seem, oh look, we've done something with this character. It's like, no, you haven't. You've just assassinated him. That's all you've done. So he goes out, and the next step, we've got a final episode next week. I don't know what to expect from it. Because they've done nothing with this show. They've done absolutely nothing. $200 million down the toilet. That's all you've done. It's just a waste of money. You seem to have writers that are not willing to actually write, and when they do, it's always garbage. So yeah, we're almost done with this entire season. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know how you could possibly end this. But then again, from what we've seen in this show, it doesn't seem like there's actually an invasion going on. Doesn't seem like it at all. I'm starting to think maybe you're just lying. That's what it seems like, because I'm not buying this secret invasion. It's like, you kind of think about this idea of a secret invasion. You have the Skrulls that have infiltrated all these high places. The amount of things you could do with that, the amount of interesting things that you would be able to do with that, you haven't chosen any avenue to go down with this show. You've done nothing when you're dealing with something that could be very interesting, and you've wasted it. And I don't think this is going to lead into the Marvels. I don't think it would matter if it did. No one's seen this show, and nobody's going to see the Marvels. But again, I don't imagine it's gonna lead into that film. Also, it's just going to be specifically in this show, and that's going to be it. They may try and tie it loosely to the Marvels, so you get a Disney Plus subscription. Because that's generally the tactic they go for. It never works, though. It never works. That's the funny part. But we're now 5 episodes in out of 6. Again, I have to come back to what a waste of money, time, and effort.